our next speaker, we know her very well. She is prolific in her presentations. I love the way that she's always, every time I go to a conference or something like that, I know that Hua will provide a presentation. She's very good at it. So we've got Hua presenting to us today. Her topic is language, thought, and reality. Now, you're going to have to help me with this one, Hua. Is it the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis? I don't know. I'm going to go with that one. How can how can tertiary learning advisors use this concept to the benefit of learners? I'm looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. Over to you.
Kia ora tātou te whānau. Thank you for the opportunity to present here, as Tanya so kindly introduced me. So I will start with mihi. Tini mihi mai oha kia koutou atu kia koutou katoa I tini inya I tini ahoatanga o tiwa. Ka mihi ki o tātou mati e heki tonu nei e heki tonu nei. Kwa tangihia, kwa mihia, kwa poroporo a ki tia rātou norira inya mati e takatomai nei e takatomai nei I roto inya ringa o tō tātou kaihanga. Ka hoki mai kia tātou te hunga ora, tēnā koutou tātou katoa. Ko wha toko inwa, he kai toho konga ki te whariwananga o aho ki te whariwananga I wara ka kiwa takari. Norira tēnā koutou tātou katoa. E Wanda Dai toku tama hari rā whānau kia koe tua toru tiko mawha I tini rā. Kia ora. So you have already might have already read my blurb in the abstract about Whorf-Sapir hypothesis, or you have your own knowledge about it. So I won't repeat what I've said there in the abstract. I just want to briefly refamiliarize us with what I understand about this hypothesis. So both Whorf and Sapir were anthropologists and linguists at the same time. So Whorf did a series of study of Native American languages, and he identified the close connectedness or interconnectedness or intertwined relationships between language, thinking patterns, people's way of thinking, and also their reality that the language and the thinking has maintained or helped to maintain. Sapir also, so Whorf studied with Sapir. Sapir also was interested in the language, the relationship with the language and between the language and the cultural reality, the people of that tribe who use that language maintain. This is very, so this has been, so one of Sapir's students gave the term of Whorf-Sapir hypothesis. I really liked it. I think what I will do that I will give you an example for everyone to have a experiential kind of a taste of what Whorf-Sapir hypothesis refer to. So first of all, I think this organization, Tanya, is so beautiful because we had the Hazel presented on the language we use when we want to include the LGBT, the rainbow community. So that was very interesting because the language will invoke or provoke something within the person who are in the community, and therefore respond differently. So the language evokes some kind of reality in people. For example, English word family. All all us, we learn English, so we know English word family means nuclear family with father, mother, and children. And then we have the Maori kupu whānau. So here, people like English try to understand that word and translate it into extended family. So from my understanding, extended family means not only the nuclear family, it means more than that. However, I believe that the kupu whānau will evoke different reality more than what it evoked in English people and also us who are not native Maori. So because I'm also not a native Maori, I can't say more than just what I observed or I thought. So, but I can say a lot of my Chinese language. So the Chinese language, when I talk about jia, so jia is family or whānau. So here, the second kupu, the second character is jia. But whenever we mention the nation, we always say guojia. So guojia, guo, is from the character, it means jade in the closed boundary. So actually, we understand Guo, the nation, is we have a boundary like the Great Wall or whatever, the boundary. And within the boundary, it's a cluster of jades, like precious things. And jia, what followed the jia is like on top, it is kind of a roof. And in the bottom could be animals we raise, family raise to keep their family nourished. So this is a concept of the individual family. So for Chinese people, because the family, the individual family comes after the nation, the bigger family for everyone in China. Therefore, to protect their nation is to protect their family or vice versa. Because the relationship between nation, the big family, and the individual family, their country and their individual family, is like the relationship between the lips and the teeth. There is also a phrase to describe the relationship of nation and the individual family, using the lips and in the teeth. So this, I guess, give you kind of a bodily sensation, vicarious sensation of what Whorf and Sapir hypothesis is about. And so over the centuries, there are always debates and challenges or doubts or attacks even on the hypothesis over the decades or centuries. However, my observation has been that all these challenges has been challenging on or doubt on whether Whorf had indeed studied one language or certain language that he claimed he had studied. So it's like I have not read any attack directly towards the hypothesis, which is the interconnected relationship between language, thought, and reality. So I conclude that the hypothesis is generally accepted as it is. It's just people don't have, the courage to accept that these people have really indeed proposed something very useful. Anyway, so my first encounter with the hypothesis was when I was when I was a university student in China, majored in English language and literature. So I read about it. I was very fascinated by it. And then again, at Sydney University, when I was doing my master's in applied linguistics, I read the sociolinguistics by Saussure. And Whorf is also, Saussure was taken as the founder of sociolinguistics. And then Whorf was the active member of that, field. So I read that again, and I read the hypothesis again. And then also I observed the developments in neuroscience about the language create a circuit in the brain, therefore create an image. It's just perhaps the family did for you. I hope. And then also, therefore, the therapist, psychotherapists, also, helping professionals, they use new language or new way to language. I use the term languaging, the way to choose words or organize words as tools to help their clients re-examine their reality that have stopped serving them and shift away from the old patterns of thinking and then establish new ways or new circuits in the brain to support their growth and development. So for me, my observation is that this new development, the development in the neuroscience, as well as the practice in the psychotherapy and also the, helping professionals practice, all confirmed to the hypothesis that it is valid. So regardless of what they have done or not, I have always accepted it as, valid for me from when I first encountered it. So now I'm going to give you two examples of how I use it in my support with students and also my interactions with colleagues, lecturers, subject lecturers, and how that has shifted the students' perspective or reality. Therefore, transfer them to a different platform where they can be successful. For example, so one day this student, I think it was September, so came with her bioscience study, and she was totally frustrated. I don't understand it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know anything about it. I want to quit. So from the several I can hear the frustration, the emotion. The emotion is part of the reality. And they'll know that the student was feeling frustrated or overwhelmed. That is the reality they were in. So I said, let's have a look. What you really don't, what you're really struggling with. And then it is metabolism process. And so I said, okay, let's read it together. Well, I'm very interested to find out about it. So we read the text together 3 times. Every time we find a step that, is kind of incorporated in that phrase, in that kind of a sentence. And then we go through the text, and then we disregard the text, we push it aside, and we talk about it. Was like, what does metabolism do for our food? When the food goes in, and what happened, and blah blah blah. At the end, I think both the student and I got it. I was very happy that I learned about the process, and so. This way, the student. So at the end, I said, "So how are you with it now? What do you say about it?" Say, "Oh yes, I do understand it, and I know how to learn about it. Now, if there's another term that I don't know, I will read more times, like what you did with me, to then without looking at the text, but talking to myself, so I can have the image in me. I totally get it. And then so I think about a month or 2 months later." Months later, maybe, I was just outside waiting for the shuttle. One student got out of the shuttle, ran to me and said, "Hua!" So this is the student that I passed the bioscience exam. Thank you so much. And, when I saw that, I know that the student has really broke through her, the reality that was confining her. Instead, she's going into be successful, going into a new pathway. So the next example is a subject colleague, social practice. So she talked with me. She said she was preparing for a conference and telling me that I might have bitten more than what I can chew. So further talk, I realized that the partner who was going to support, deliver with her or present with her has withdrawn. So therefore, I left her there, and she felt that something was missing, that maybe the size now become too big for her. However, I checked with her that this topic, she chose the topic. She just invited that culture colleague to make contribution. So as I said, so you are actually passionate about this social injustice issue, and you want to present about it. So maybe you have a lot to say about it. Why don't you? Maybe it's just the right size for you because you choose it. and then you want to add more. So now what you can present what you have, and then you can make a note to say, acknowledge that another perspective from a different culture will add much more to richness to this topic. Oh, she was, yeah, thank you. And then I showed her how to do pre-recording, because that's also something that she was struggling with. So then last week, she cook up a lunch, and because I'm gluten free, so she cook gluten and invited me and some of her colleagues to have a lunch together. And she told me that she had successfully submitted her presentation. She was very happy with it. So this actually is how I apply the hypothesis in my practice, in my support work. I think hopefully I did not go beyond time. I have 10 minutes. So now it's time for corridor, 50-50, Faka 50-50 corridor, which means Q&A. If you have any questions for me or discussions or share your perspectives, you're welcome. This is your space, open space.
Okay, thanks, Hua, for your very interesting topic. And I'm also from applied linguistic background, but this is not my expertise, and this is the first time that I've heard about the hypothesis. This is very interesting to me and attract my curiosity as well. So from my understanding from what you've said about the hypothesis is that language, thinking, and reality. I think they are just like a 3-point joining points of a triangle, and I'm not sure if one point leads to the other, and then which one is the beginning point or which one is the ending point. I'm not sure about that, but from what you've said, I think that you apply the hypothesis starting from language. So you use some kind of language, and that kind of language will lead to a difference in the thinking pattern or thinking of the student or the listener. And then from that thinking, somehow it will change or impact the reality. That is a very good one. And you can see that it's effective. I'm just wondering if we can start from the other 2 points. For example, can we start by saying or describing about or making clear about the reality, and then it will lead back to the thinking pattern of the student, and then advisor and student can work out some kind of language which are very useful for the student to read or to repeat every day, or we can just start at the thinking point, and then we go back to language, and then from language to reality. What I mean is that there may be, I'm just thinking, there may be some different starting point, and I'm not sure which one is more effective. Or maybe we can apply 3 ways at the same time, maybe. What's your thought?
Thank you, Luan. Thank you, Luan. You give me a very rich kind of picture for me to chew or digest it. But I can see where you are sitting because language, thought, and reality, actually, you can make it a triangle to help you to see the picture. However, they are really together for me, from what I see, because you use language. When you think, you use language to think, right? And therefore, at the same time, the reality is built already when you are thinking. So, for example, when you're talking about the triangle, you use the word triangle, you think triangle, and you see the triangle already. So wherever you start, wherever point or whatever layer you go in, you start, will work the same way. For example, because I'm also by training, I'm also a psycho-spiritual counselor. But because I'm not practicing, because I'm working full time, so if client is struggling with some kind of a reality they just held so tightly, or maybe if we don't talk about this client, instead we talk about one student. So yesterday, a bachelor of nursing student came and see me, and I saw her 3 times. This is the 3rd time. Every time we met, we need to spend half hour to break her loose, because she held very strongly in her what she thinks is right. And then she wanted to do better because she passed her exam only 60%. She wanted to do better writing. She wanted to do better. So she came to me again. I remember when she first came, we spent about 40 minutes to really, really, really shake her loose. So what I said can get through to her. So this is a kind of a reality in her that somehow she believes this thing needs to be done like this, and held so strongly, even though she did not tell me this is what she believed. But from my communication with her, I can see that, because what I said something, she immediately flipped back to what she believed. So then I said to her, I was very honest to her. I said, so you remember we fought every time we fought? She said, yes. I said, so now if you wanted to improve, you need to open a little bit space so you can move further. You can be more than what you were. What you held strong has helped to save you. So it's a survival instinct, because she is a woman from a culture that women were not seen or heard. Therefore, it's very understandable that this person will hold so strongly in herself that reality in her, right? So now we start from the reality and moving into the thinking and also the language. Do you think this answer your question?
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, by the way, there's a question in the chat. I'm just reading it so that you may have a thought on that. Is the hypothesis only applicable to verbal language, or can it be observed also in the written language?
Thank you. I think yes, because written and verbal language are both their language, right? So the language will express one thought, or language will demonstrate one thinking pattern, and also their reality, even it is in the written language. Yes. So that's why when we talk about AI assisted writing, when I read it, as you said, when we read it, we will totally know that from an AI, because there's no emotion expressed there. It's just purely technical writing. So the bits and bits don't relate with each other in a kind of a felt sense. So therefore, the AI reality is pure technicals, no emotion, because they don't have emotion. So therefore, written language also can reveal one's thinking pattern and one's reality. If I give you one more example, one person who's very religious and very fearful about God. So whenever this person make a statement, he always say, if God willing. So I kind of got a little bit tired of that kind of, they're very rigid, very strict, very fearful. When you say rigid, it's really fearful. So I said, what if you change the word God to divine? And that person immediately starts smiling. So, divine, blah, blah, not God. Because when you say God, in the image is an old man sitting there watching you, and judging you, all of that. So that's the religion. But when you break us free from the religion to divine, that's spirituality. So the person become relatable or with what they believe. Yeah, so this is a very kind of immediately release from the confinement or from that reality which is rigid, which is religious, which is fearful.
One more question, I think, please, Luan.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more question. What are the typical contexts for using this hypothesis?
Typical context, I will say, really, it's a psychospiritual. When you do the counseling, you really notice the client's language. So I transfer my skill from the counseling to my support with students. And my interaction with people. When they say something, I really notice where they are either got stuck somewhere in a reality that they don't see consciously, but I can see, then I help them out. So, but I really love these questions. Can you please, if you have the question, you can email me the question. I will be very happy to continue the discussion.
That's fantastic. Hua, thank you so much for sharing your time and your expertise. And gosh, you keep getting bigger and bigger in my estimation. Every time I come to you, you've got some more to say about this and that. Very great experiences.